Beloved soul, before you go any further, just pause for one moment and take a slow, deep breath. The angels are with you right now. They are wrapping their wings around you, filling the space around you with a warmth that is real, that is divine, and that is meant only for you. You are seen. You are protected. You are more loved than you have ever been able to fully understand. Welcome to Angel's message for you. A sacred space made for souls just like yours, souls who are searching for truth, for comfort, and for the kind of guidance that only heaven can give. What you are about to receive today is not ordinary. This is not a message that found you by accident. It was meant to reach you at this exact point in your life. Right now, in this moment, when your heart has been carrying something heavy and beautiful all at once. So I am asking you to stay with me until the very end. Because what the angels are about to reveal could shift something deep inside you. It could change everything you thought you understood about the love you carry, and why it has never let you go. There are things happening right now with your soulmate that if your eyes could truly see them, your heart might not be able to hold all the emotion at once. There is a truth the angels have brought today that will stir something in the deepest part of you. A truth that very few people ever receive, but that heaven has specifically chosen for you to know, right here, right now. The love you feel, that strong, steady, persistent bond that simply refuses to leave, was not born from loneliness or imagination. It has roots, it has meaning, it has direction, and it carries a reason far greater than anything the human mind alone can fully explain. God is behind this story. Every single day you feel that there is someone who touches your heart in a way no one else ever has. No matter how much the world tries to distract you, there is a presence that echoes somewhere deep within. And no matter how distant everything may seem at times, this feeling never truly goes cold. On some days it even feels stronger than before. This is no accident. There is a greater force moving through all of it, guiding every thread of this story with care and intention. Today, the angels have come to tell you something that may surprise you at first. Your soulmate is getting deeply involved with someone who holds an eternal commitment. Take a slow breath when you read that. Let me walk you through this with care, because what is being revealed here is powerful beyond words, and it could change everything for both of you. Here is the truth. Every single day, your soulmate is speaking to someone who carries an eternal commitment, someone who not only listens but truly transforms, not only welcomes but actively guides. That someone is God. Yes. Your soulmate has been drawing closer to God in a deep, real, and constant way. This person is placing their life, their dreams, their feelings, and even the love they carry for you, right into the hands of the Heavenly Father. And the one they are committed to holds the most sacred promise of all: to bless, protect, and fully prepare both of you for a love that was written in heaven long before either of you ever felt it. As you receive these words right now, heaven is using this moment to remind you of something essential. None of this is a coincidence. The feeling you carry in your heart is not a burden. It is a seed, and that seed was planted in both your hearts by the very hand of God. There is nothing wrong with feeling what you feel. There is nothing wrong with wanting to live something real and true with the person your soul has always recognized. What you feel is real. And more than that, it is part of a plan that is far bigger and far more beautiful than you have yet been able to see. Your soulmate, perhaps without your knowing, prays for this love. They ask God for guidance, for strength, for wisdom. They surrender in a quiet, private spiritual place that no one else sees, but where everything truly begins, at the feet of God. This person reaches out to the Most High every single day, seeking understanding about what is being felt, what is still coming, and what the two of you mean to each other in the larger story being written. And it is precisely for this reason that this message has found you today, to remind you that you have not been forgotten, to show you that even when everything feels silent around you, heaven has never stopped moving on your behalf. At this very moment, your soulmate is being shaped, prepared, and strengthened in spirit to step into what has already been written for both of you. The spiritual connection happening right now between your soulmate and God is stronger than any words could fully capture. It is true, it is deep, it is unbreakable, and that is a profound blessing, because there is no safer place in all of existence for love to rest than in the hands of the Creator Himself. If you were led here today, do not doubt it for even 1 second. Your being here is part of the plan. This revelation is meant to light a new flame of trust inside you. God does not bring two souls together by accident. He builds stories with purpose and with intentional timing. And if this feeling still lives and breathes inside your heart today, it is because something sacred is already happening in the unseen realm. Stay with this message, because step by step, the angels will walk you through exactly how this bond is shaping the path of your love, and how everything that is being so carefully held by God will, at the right time, become beautifully visible in your reality. There are truths that, when finally revealed, change everything: how we feel, how we think, and even how we make peace with the time that has passed. Sometimes life seems to stand completely still, the heart held firm by a feeling that refuses to leave, and you find yourself, again and again, trying to understand why this connection will not fade, even when everything on the surface has seemed to drift apart. But what if there is something you still do not know? Something happening every single day in your soulmate's life, quietly and deeply, that has been touching you without you even realizing it? This is about something sacred, an offering your soulmate has been making far from the eyes of the world, yet very close, incredibly close, to the heart of God. You know that strong feeling you carry, that strange certainty you sometimes cannot put into any words that feel adequate? The answer lives above. It is found in the conversations your soulmate has been having with the Creator. It lives in the prayers made with a heart full of faith, in the tears no one else has seen, but that God has gathered up, one by one, holding each one as something precious. This person is seeking in God the answers the world simply could not give them. They are placing, with complete and trusting surrender, the love they feel for you right into the hands of the one who sees everything. And that is exactly why you still feel what you feel. That is why this invisible bond exists between you, even as time moves forward, even when the paths seem to have grown far apart. The connection between two souls united by a shared purpose cannot be broken by anything temporary. And when one of those souls turns fully toward God, something begins to move at a depth that no ordinary action could ever reveal or reach. God has heard every single prayer your soulmate has offered. He has received every word spoken in sincerity, every hope placed before him with an open hand. This love is being watered every single day by heaven itself. The faith of this person has been sustaining something the eyes cannot see but the heart feels with complete clarity. A spiritual connection that is actively growing and being strengthened in the one place where it truly matters most, in the very presence of God. This spiritual secret is not hidden out of fear or forgotten by neglect. It is, in truth, a pure expression of the depth of this love. Your soulmate understood that what they feel could not be offered carelessly or without divine preparation. That is why they went to God first, before seeking any human answer or solution. And that single choice changed everything. Because when you seek God first, everything that follows is led by wisdom that the world simply cannot manufacture. And you, who may have spent so many quiet moments wondering whether there is still something real alive between you, now begin to understand. You begin to see why you feel what you feel, why your heart remains steady even through the waiting, why there is this strange, inexplicable peace even in the middle of the uncertainty. It is the reflection of what is being carefully built above. Your soulmate is being led with love, with faith, and with clear divine direction. And you, even without fully realizing it, have been woven into this spiritual journey the entire time. What we so often call distance is in truth sacred time of preparation. A season in which God is shaping, healing, and strengthening not only the ones we love but also us. And all of it, every quiet day, every restless night, is part of the divine care that surrounds this love. If your soulmate is walking with God, you can rest in knowing they are on exactly the right path. Because God never leads anyone through shortcuts. He always leads through truth. There are days when the heart feels so heavy, when unanswered questions rise up without warning, when longing arrives uninvited, and when doubt tries to push faith out of its seat. But now that you know about this deep spiritual connection your soulmate is living, let your heart rest. Let the weight down for a moment. You are not alone in what you feel. There is someone placing themselves before God every single day, asking for wisdom, asking for blessing, lifting you both up in prayer. And God, who is utterly committed to what is born of true love, is listening to every word. He is caring. He is leading. He is doing what he has always done, quietly, powerfully, faithfully working all things together. Your soulmate has made a choice that takes enormous courage to place everything, absolutely everything, into the Father's hands. That alone is already a sign of deep maturity, of real faith, and of genuine purpose. It tells you that this love is not being taken lightly, that there is a sincere and lasting desire to build something pure, something true, something that will stand the test of time. Now more than ever, the time has come to understand with your whole heart that what is being prepared in prayer will absolutely be lived out in reality. God does not waste true feelings. He does not let them drift into nothing. He takes them and transforms them into stories that bring glory to heaven and healing to the soul. There are things only heaven can explain. And when you truly understand who your soulmate has been connecting with, you begin to see that what you are living right now is not wasted time. It is not confusion. It is not emptiness. It is part of a divine care that reaches far deeper than anything you had imagined. This connection your soulmate has is not built on appearances or on a need to fill emptiness. It is a daily, intimate, and sacred bond with someone who never disappoints, never abandons, never makes mistakes. That someone is God. And this is no new or shallow thing. It has been a constant and sincere offering, waking up and speaking with God, ending the day by asking for direction, placing their heart to be cared for by the one who knows every thought before it is even formed. And when someone truly connects with God this way, transformation happens from the inside out. Everything that is real and true begins to align itself with the timing and the will of the Father. Your soulmate has entered a commitment that goes far beyond words, the commitment of trusting their entire life to the Creator, of recognizing that the love they feel must first be blessed before it can be fully lived, of understanding that without the presence of God sustaining it, even the strongest feeling can lose its way. God does not enter someone's life by accident, and when He does, He begins to align everything toward His purpose. That means feelings that survive across time and distance are not weakness. They are resilience. They are proof that something divine is holding everything together in ways that human logic simply cannot account for. Every day this person carries to God the love they hold in their heart for you. It is not a passing conversation. It is an act of the deepest trust. Every prayer, every word offered in faith, is recorded in heaven. And no true prayer ever goes without an answer. If you still feel something alive and beating within you, it is in part because your soulmate's prayers have been reaching you in quiet, invisible ways that you feel but may not always be able to name. The purest love is so often the love that is first brought before God. The love that does not try to control or rush but surrenders so that heaven can guide it toward its fullness. It is the kind of love that waits willingly to be shaped before it is lived. And that is exactly what is happening in this moment. Your soulmate is going through a deep and real spiritual process, and you are part of it, even if you do not realize it yet, because this person is not only asking for wisdom but actively asking God to bless this love and prepare both hearts for what is still to come. That is why you were led here to receive this message. Nothing about your arrival was by chance. Something spiritual is happening that directly involves you. God wants to show you that your soulmate's connection with heaven is also a way of protecting and preserving what you share. It is as if the Creator is saying, "Be patient. I am preparing the ground. Everything that is truly meant will bloom at exactly the right time." While the rest of the world races toward passing distractions, your soulmate has quietly chosen a different path, a path of depth, of honest surrender, and of real connection with the only one who can truly sustain love the way it was designed to be sustained. The same God who created you, the same God who knows your whole story, who understands everything you feel even when you try to keep it hidden from yourself. It is with this God that your soulmate has been speaking, sharing doubts, emotions, fears, and above all, the love still carried for you. Something very powerful is unfolding in this spiritual bond. It is not about religious routine or empty repetition. It is about a living, intimate relationship built entirely on trust. And when someone truly gives themselves to God in this way, there is no room left for illusions. What remains is what endures, what has roots, what was placed in the heart for a purpose greater than any one moment. God is not simply a listener. He is a faithful partner, a loving father, constant guide. And when someone truly commits to Him, they begin to see all of life through entirely different eyes. Priorities shift naturally. The heart aligns itself with heaven. And everything built from that point forward carries a strength that time itself cannot wear away. It was in this space of faith and surrender that your soulmate's love for you has been kept safe. A love that, instead of being left to chance, was placed before the throne of God. That is exactly why you feel what you feel, because the connection between two people who pray, who place themselves in God's hands, who love each other in truth, that kind of connection transcends every limitation that logic tries to place on it. This commitment between your soulmate and God is what has kept hope alive on the days when everything else felt uncertain. It is what has preserved the desire to live something real and lasting, even when reality seemed to be pushing against it. For the heart that truly turns to God is filled with a patience, a wisdom, and a quiet courage that the world simply cannot offer or explain. This love is in good hands. Not the hands of chance, not the hands of circumstance, but in the hands of the one who already knows how this story ends, and who is walking both of you carefully toward that beautiful ending. There are feelings that do not arrive by chance. There are bonds that are not born simply from shared time or accidental meetings. True love is planted carefully by hands that know exactly what each heart needs, what each soul is ready for, and what purpose the connection is meant to serve. And when that love is born inside you with this kind of intensity, this persistence, this life, It is because there is a divine origin behind it that goes deeper than any human explanation. The love you feel was not planted by mistake. God does not waste sincere feelings. He does not place something real and deep into a heart without intention. And that is why the angels have come today to remind you, if this love lives in your heart with this kind of staying power, it is because God planted that seed with his own hands. Nothing that begins in God is empty. Nothing that comes from him is without direction or purpose. It may look as if everything is on pause, but God's timing is never without reason, and it never fails. And here is the most beautiful part of all. That seed was planted in two hearts at the same time. Yes, even with different stories, even with different paths and different wounds, your soulmate carries this same feeling. Because when the Creator brings two people together with purpose, he prepares both with the same level of care and the same deep intention. Perhaps you have wondered why the absence hurts the way it does. Why your heart feels so tethered to something that has not yet fully arrived. The truth is, when God plants something within us, the time of harvest is always different from the time of planting. First, he prepares the soil. He waters it with experiences that stretch us. He removes what is no longer needed. He strengthens the roots so that what grows will not be easily moved. Only after all of that does the love bloom in its fullness. This is not delay. This is the wisdom of a God who builds things that last. Your soulmate is walking through this same process, being watered each day by God's touch, through prayer, through trust, through surrender, being transformed from the inside out in places no human eye can reach. Everything is being cared for with a divine precision that is simply beyond what any of us can fully take in. Your love was not planted carelessly. It was planted with clear intention. And when the one who planted it is also the one watching over it, you can be absolutely certain it will not be lost. What is planted in faith does not die. It may move through dry seasons. It may pass through nights of uncertainty and long stretches of quiet. But if God placed it in your heart, that seed is not dying. It is maturing. It is gaining the depth and the strength it needs to stand through every storm. It is simply waiting with quiet dignity for the right moment to open. If there is one thing to hold on to right now, it is this: God does not work with improvisation. He does not build stories on unstable ground, and he does not move by impulse. Everything that comes from him has direction, intention, and a beauty that only fully reveals itself over time. And when it comes to love, real love, the kind that was born in heaven, God acts with even greater care. Because love is not a distraction to him. It is a plan. There is a real difference between a passing desire and a divine plan. Desire comes with force, but it fades. What is born as purpose, as a genuine call from heaven, remains. It remains through waiting. It remains through doubt. It remains when everything else seems to be trying to replace or erase it. What belongs to God endures. And this feeling you carry has been enduring for a reason. You may have tried many times to understand with logic everything you feel. You may have looked for quick answers or even tried to move on and let go. But what was born between you and your soulmate simply does not follow human formulas. There is something higher at work. Something deeper and more rooted than anything that can be analyzed or reasoned away. Something placed within you both with divine intention. And what God plants, he tends to personally. God personally cares for the plans that are born of true love. He watches every action, every choice, every prayer. Not because he is keeping score, but because he is building. Because in order to live something truly great, maturity is required. A willing and open heart is required. And that is why time sometimes tests your patience so deeply, not because God has forgotten you, but because He is building something in you that needs that time to become what it is meant to be. Your soulmate is part of this same construction. This person has been seeking God sincerely, praying, trusting, and laying everything down before Him. And when two people are simultaneously being shaped by God, even while standing in different places, what is being built between them carries a strength that simply cannot be manufactured any other way. It is love with a spiritual foundation that will not crumble when life puts pressure on it. Have you ever paused to wonder what truly led you to this message today? Maybe it was a quiet nudge from somewhere inside. Maybe it was an unexplainable pull, or just the feeling that today you needed to hear something real. What heaven wants you to know is this: you did not arrive here by chance. You were brought here, guided and prepared by a force far greater than your own choosing, by a divine presence that knows your heart more completely than you know it yourself. Life can feel disordered. Emotions can feel tangled and confusing. The days can pile up with unanswered questions that no one around you seems to fully understand. But in the middle of all of that, there is direction. And that direction comes from God. He brought you here because He knew what you needed to hear. Not yesterday, not tomorrow, but today. Right at this moment when you have been quietly trying to make sense of everything you feel, everything you have carried, and everything that still beats within you without a clear explanation. When a soul is restless, God listens. When a heart is searching for meaning it cannot name, God answers. When someone carrying real love feels lost and worn down by the waiting, God sends signs. This message today is one of those signs. You were called to receive it because there is a living promise that involves you and your soulmate. And God does not leave promises floating. He confirms. He comforts. He moves things into place. You are here because you are part of something being actively built by the Creator. A plan that reaches into your life, your future, and the love you have been faithfully carrying. And even if the path has felt unclear, even if you have questioned everything at certain points, your presence here right now is evidence that a spiritual purpose is unfolding around you, step by step, with more care than you may have dared to believe. Heaven is saying to you today, I have not forgotten you. I have not left this love to find its own way. I have been caring for it all along. Your soulmate has also been guided through all of this, seeking God with sincerity, offering prayers, and surrendering spiritually to something they cannot yet fully put into words. And while that is happening, you two are being led on different roads, yes, but toward the same sacred meeting point. This means you are not disconnected from each other. You are both being shaped. You are both being refined. And even when the eyes cannot see it, both hearts are still quietly responding to heaven's call. There are distances that are not measured in miles or in time, but in the depth of the process happening within each person. Sometimes you look at your life and feel the separation from your soulmate as something almost physical. But what if that distance is not what it appears to be? What if it is actually something else entirely? You are both in the hands of a God who knows every path before it even takes its first step. The care He gives does not look identical for each person. Each of you has your own story, your own healing to move through, your own lessons that only your particular journey can teach. But what connects you in this process, what holds the thread between you, is the origin. You are both being shaped by the same God, the same one who understands each person's timing, who honors each person's season, and who guides everything with the quiet precision of one who has never once made a mistake. Sometimes what looks like separation is actually protection. God, in His wisdom, preventing something precious from being offered before it is ready to be received and held well. True love needs a real foundation, emotional and spiritual, to stand steady when the inevitable winds of life eventually blow. You may feel you are in a season of waiting, but in truth, you are in a season of transformation. Your soulmate is too. God is working on the inside of each of you, on your way of seeing, your way of loving, your capacity for forgiveness and surrender. All of it is preparation for what is coming. And perhaps the most powerful thing of all is this: even though you are not together right now, you are still connected by the same faith. When two people are in God's hands, even in different places, even living very different days, they continue walking toward a common destination, the purpose that heaven has already set for them. No day in this process is wasted. Every prayer, every quiet moment of reflection, every stretch of patience is contributing to the love that is being built. In the coming days, something is shifting. Heaven has its own quiet way of speaking, not always through big, dramatic moments, but through details that land in the heart in ways nothing else can quite replicate. Signs will begin arriving, not in grand, noisy form, but with the gentle precision of one who knows exactly what will reach you. A phrase that seems written only for you, a song that arrives at exactly the right moment, a memory that surfaces and brings with it an unexpected peace, or something completely beyond your control that simply makes you feel, unmistakably, that God is present, that He is listening, that He is still in this. These signs will not come to confuse you. They will come to confirm what you have received today. And your soulmate will also receive signs. God does not work on only one side of a story. The same presence moving in your heart right now is also moving in your soulmate's life. You are both, without even fully knowing it yet, being walked toward the moment when everything will begin to make sense in a new and deeper way. Being open to these signs does not mean living in anxious expectation. It means keeping your heart soft enough and quiet enough to notice when God is speaking through the everyday. That openness does not come from worry. It comes from a settled, rooted faith. The kind that knows heaven keeps its promises. The kind that has learned to recognize the Creator's voice in the small and simple things. In the days ahead, do not rush anything. Do not try to force what only God can bring about in His timing. Simply walk forward, keep your heart open, keep nourishing your faith, and heaven will make sure every confirmation reaches you. The signs will come as gentle touches, but they will leave impressions that run deep, because what comes from God never passes through without leaving a mark. And when they come, and they will, you will remember what was revealed to you today. You will feel the truth of it settle even more deeply. You will understand that what you feel has always made sense. That your soulmate is also being guided. That this love has never been forgotten. That the promise is not only alive, it is on the move. God is a Father who not only listens but acts. And if there is one thing He honors above all else, it is what is born of genuine love placed into His hands. When God blesses a feeling, He also takes personal responsibility for the story that grows from it. And from the very beginning, from the first moment this love made itself known within you, God was already there, already watching, already planning, already caring. You did not choose this connection by accident. This bond was planted with intention, watered with purpose, and has been sustained through a promise that God made long before either of you understood what it meant. And a promise made by God does not expire. It does not fade when the days grow hard. It does not disappear when doubt tries to take over. It remains, standing firm, fully alive, sustained not by perfect circumstances but by the unchanging faithfulness of the one who made it. God's promise does not require you to be perfect in order to be honored. It is not withdrawn because of human weakness or moments of fear. What comes from heaven is perfected even through difficulty. You do not need to understand everything right now. You only need to trust, because the love that God seals with His commitment is the very love He also protects, guides, and faithfully brings to its fullness. And that is exactly what is happening. This love is being held in divine hands. It does not matter how many unexpected turns time has taken. It does not matter how many doubts have risen and fallen along the way. What God has promised is still standing. The promise is alive because it was made by a God who does not change with the seasons. A God who saw what you felt in the very beginning, who saw how your whole being responded to the connection with this person, and who continues, right now, today, to see the love that still quietly lives within you. God does not plant love to leave it dormant forever. He allows something to be born in two hearts so that in the right time, in His time, in the fullness of what He has been preparing, it will bloom with a beauty and a depth that only patience could have made possible. His commitment to you is not only about getting you through the waiting. It is about leading you all the way to the fulfillment of what He planned. Your soulmate has placed their story in God's hands as well, asking for guidance, for strength, for the clarity to move forward with wisdom. And God has been answering, even if the answers are not yet fully visible. Even if the movement is still happening behind what can be seen. There is surrender happening. There is transformation. There is a heart being prepared to love in a way that is whole and true and lasting. God is committed to both of you because this love was entrusted to Him. That is why, through every season of uncertainty, through every long and quiet stretch, something steady remains inside you. Because the promise does not rest on circumstances. It rests on God's faithfulness alone. And a loving Father does not walk away from what He promised to bless. When God commits to a story, He moves everything that needs to move to bring it to life. The promise you carry was not born from your will alone. It was placed in you by God. And everything that is His remains living, even when it appears to be still. He knows the time. He knows the way. And if you have come this far, if you have received all of this with an open and willing heart, it is because you are already being prepared to see the fulfillment of this promise. Not with haste, not driven by anxiety, but with the quiet, steady, unshakable trust of someone who knows that what God starts, He always completes. When God fulfills what He has promised, He always delivers more than what was expected. He restores what was broken. He strengthens what fear had made fragile. He gives beautiful new meaning to everything that once felt lost. The promise is alive, beloved soul, and you are standing closer to seeing it clearly than you may realize. God is committed to this love, to you and to your soulmate, and He does not leave unfinished what He began with purpose. You are not here by chance. What you have received today is not a comforting story made to keep you hoping for a short while. It is a genuine spiritual confirmation, a reminder from above that the promise has never stopped being active, not even for one single day. And it is being tended to with the loving, careful hands of a Father who knows exactly what He is doing and exactly where He is taking both of you. You and your soulmate are in preparation. Both of you are being cared for, strengthened, and transformed in ways that will only become fully clear when the time is right. And all of it, every moment, every stretch of patience, every prayer, is part of the plan. The love between you is being built on heaven's foundation. It is pure, it is strong, and it is full of divine purpose. No distance can erase what God is protecting. No circumstance has the power to undo what has been sealed in prayer. When something like this is born and placed in God's hands, He does not simply observe. He gets involved. He acts. He sustains it with the full force of His faithfulness. So trust. Trust the way someone trusts who already knows they are being cared for. Trust the way someone finally rests after a long wait because heaven has confirmed what the heart has quietly known all along. When confirmation comes from God, it does not fade. It settles in and changes the way you see everything moving forward. You are not lost. You are being guided. What you feel is not a mistake or a drift in time. It is in the hands of the Eternal, and it is safe there. From today, walk forward with new eyes. Stay attentive to the signs. Let yourself feel God's presence in the small and simple details of your days. Keep feeding your faith, because what is coming toward you will require a willing, light, and hope-filled heart to receive it fully. Your soulmate is being awakened. The love you share is being acknowledged in heaven. The waiting has not been wasted. Every feeling that has carried you to this point has had purpose. And if God says He will fulfill this, then believe it with everything you have. Because nothing can stop what God has chosen to complete. Your story has been written with love. And love that comes from God is never truly lost along the way. It matures in the waiting. It deepens through the seasons. And at exactly the right time, in ways more beautiful than you have yet imagined, it blooms. Keep listening to heaven. Keep yourself strengthened in prayer. Keep believing that what God promised, He is already in the process of fulfilling. Because the love He blesses, He also honors. And what He honors, He will never allow to simply disappear. In the coming days, stay watchful. The promise will begin to show itself more clearly. Your heart will feel it before your mind can name it. And when that moment comes, remember what was revealed to you here today. Remember that heaven has been working the entire time. Remember that you are loved, that you are seen, and that the God who planted this love in your heart is the same God who intends to bring it all the way home. You are deeply loved, dear soul. The angels walk beside you every step of the way. Heaven watches over you with care that never wavers. And you are never, not for one single breath, alone. Amen.